Happy Monday. Good morning. How are you? I swear, 5 minutes before this, I was sitting there going, I really am not in the mood today. I was like, oh, but nope. Do it, commit, fucking, keep going. Stress balls. These are going to become a regular prop, I think, for the rest of the year. Because shit's happening. Stress balls. What's happening? Anyway, quality entertainment, courtesy of me. Anyway, so how are you? How the fuck are you? So, I'm going to talk about stuff that happened overnight with all the feminists in a separate video, and I'm going to talk about purity politics and pluralism and bullying those you disagree with and all of that sort of stuff tomorrow. I decided that I want to give it more thought, but I actually want to just put some sort of framework around it like I always do. I want to think about it. But I went on a bit of a fucking spill yesterday, which was I can't back anyone who bullies anyone else. As a victim of bullying growing up and on online mobs repeatedly, having seen the kind of things that I've seen in my life, it's just zero tolerance. I don't care if I agree with your politics. I don't care if I agree with you. I have to back away from it. So if you've got a problem with that, and if you're sitting there rationalizing bullying, it's just not okay. Okay. Anyway, I'll talk about that separately when I'm a little more calm, a little less pissed off about the whole thing, because I think there's a whole bunch of people who think that this is just a fucking game on Twitter, and that they don't realize that, the optics of those who do put their actual names up there, in my case, at great financial and reputational cost, I get fucking cast with this brush. If you turn around and act like a fucking asshole, that I want to say in it. I want to say in that. I want to say in how my name is fucking dragged through the mud. So that's just so we're clear. Just so we're clear, okay? You're allowed to have your beliefs, but if you behave in a certain way, I'm out. Okay? Because I'm already paying the price for this stuff. With my name, my number is on my website, for fuck's sake, okay? This is not a fucking Twitter game where you can just sit and misgender and bully people and not think that that's that any rational human being is going to fucking back you. I just don't understand that, okay? Anyone with any semblance of a life, right? Anyway, I was going to talk about it tomorrow. Stay on focus, Taya, because before all this went down, Kanye West announced that he was going to run for president. Now, I don't think he's going to. I think it's a stunt. But what I thought let's just entertain it for a minute. And the thing that that's funny about this is that it's not actually the worst idea in the world. It's like, okay. Because usually, I know this sounds funny, but often when I'm looking at something, I look at who it annoys as well as who's happy with it. And when you see who it actually annoys, I kind of go, oh, there must be something to this, right? If you're like a fucking, 20K blue check, low-level journo who is stupid, woke fuck, and they just think that this is and then they just, if they're against it, generally, it's a sign that I probably think I should look into something further. Now, so let's have a bit of fun. I'm not endorsing this, but what actually made me laugh, right? And this is this old troll, and Elon Musk came out and endorsed him, right? Which I find also interesting and also fucking completely on brand for Elon Musk. But I sit there and and the more that I thought about it, I thought, okay, to go back 6 months ago, I sat there when when all of this actually wasn't 6 months ago. I think it was like 3 weeks ago. That's what 2020 is at the moment. It was like, it feels like 6 months ago. It's like, no, I think it was a few weeks ago. I was saying thinking that if there was ever going to be a time to bust open the two-party system in America, with a extremely famous, extremely well-resourced, widely loved candidate, third-party candidate, this would be the time. Because fuck me, like, look at the choices. I mean, America, I love you. But if you actually fucking think that people aren't like that, Trump supporters aren't holding their nose doing it, other than like the handful of fucking morons, right? If you don't think that the majority of people who vote for Trump aren't doing this because they feel like the greater threat is someone with dementia who lets a fucking cult take over their party, right? They don't think that's the bigger threat. Anyway, sort of wandering off, but I sat there and I've been looking at this. Like, one thing people don't know is that I did a lot of my thesis was actually on the American system, American Bill of Rights, and whether that could be translated into some sort of the application in Australia. I love seeing this stuff, right? The thing about the Bill of Rights is that this is so, all of this stuff in America, right? It is such a sacred document, and I just admire that. But it does make them a little bit batshit over their rights every so often, and this is what we're seeing. So very important. Now, so I know there's a wide range of people who watch this. So and most people don't even know how the Australian government works, let alone the American political system. But so I will be brief. But basically, the biggest problem with most Western democracies at this point, is the political party system. Okay, the Australian two-party system is more entrenched than the American one, but the American one is a lot more tribal. So, and I can go into political culture a bit, but I'm not going to be boring. But roughly, for those that want to compare, but in places like Italy or I'm just trying to think, there's a whole bunch of places where you've got like it's normal to have a minority government, like 6 fucking parties all going at it, and it's a little bit chaotic. It's a little bit more democratic than sort of two-party systems. So anyone who's been in the political party system, and I'm not talking about fucking minor parties, like, you don't have a chance. You don't have a chance. Anyway, stressful. I'm trying to talk to too many people in too many different countries with too many different interests, and I'm just going to talk about what I think is funny, and I'm going to do this. This is like the worst ASMR you've ever seen. Anyway, so now the thing about the American system. Oh, look. Do you like my coffee mug? Look at my coffee mug. Check this out. Isn't that the fucking stupidest thing you've ever seen? It was $5 at one of the local shops, and I was like, I think I could go with that. I think that would annoy enough people. Anyway, what am I talking about? Is anyone here? I don't know. Oh, Cyrene. Hi, Cyrene. I deliberately timed this for like this time because I don't want all of this UK fucking gender critical mob shit to like bleed over into my videos, because I'm a bit pissed off with everybody at the moment. So the time was on purpose because most of them are in bed. Anyway, so now, oh yeah, Kanye. So Kanye West, if you don't know who Kanye West is, well, like my husband, who is a fucking freak, doesn't know who Kanye West is. He is a famous rapper, producer, I think like Drake or those sorts of people. And he is married to the inimitable Kim Kardashian, who I love to hate to love. Okay. So it's just funny. I just love this shit. I love this shit so much. The fact that we're even having this conversation. I was like, I'm going to entertain this and I'm going to talk about it. And it's just funny. So it's not actually all that out there. So for those who know, have been around for more than 10 minutes, Kanye's been sort of teasing the idea of running for president for quite a few years. And he's actually not, like I was saying, that a celebrity, never eat before a stream, Taya. A celebrity, well, the only people that could fucking run right now and win is like Oprah. Because one thing people don't know about the American political system is that in order to even just get elected, you need a lot of fucking cash. Like, this is an industry. Like, there's a whole media election complex, right? Politico media fucking complex just around elections alone. This is an industry. Typical of America is that they can basically make a buck out of anything, which is admirable. But at the same time, it doesn't make for great democracy and democratic process. So yeah, big money. So the only way to really, and also what you'd need. So if you were going to run for president, if you were sitting there looking at this whole thing, this whole fucking shit show, and you've got President Trump on one hand and whatever the fuck is happening, like Jesus Christ, whatever the fuck is going on there, all right, what you do is you first of all would either need to get the nomination of a third party, like say the Greens. Ralph Nader did that. Jill Stein, like famously Jill Stein ran it in 2016 and they blamed her for splitting the vote and all that. You know that fucking shit. They're always just blaming other people. Same old shit, blaming other people for your own fucking actions. Seems to be a common theme. Anyway, work on being mentally healthy, people, okay? Before you start throwing stones and getting involved in political debates, how about you deal with your own shit? Okay. Anyway, that's a running theme. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, so in order, like, a lot of people are like, oh, there's no chance, because getting 300 and, because it's voluntary voting, 100 million people to vote. So the weird thing about the American system is that they've got a lot of things where in and of themselves, they're fairly benign. Like, voluntary voting is fine. But, the idea that so much money has to go into getting people just to vote, let alone vote for you. All of this stuff. Like, for people like us, we've got compulsory voting in Australia, which I think is great. It has its downfalls, but yeah. But see, Doug said Uganda's got a pop star running for president next term also. I don't think none of this surprises me. None of this surprises me because it's this cult of celebrity stuff. Of course, people are going to you create a fucking Big Brother and Survivor and MasterChef and Big Brother. Oh, sorry, I said Big Brother, The Bachelor and all this sort of shit, right? And create reality TV. What do you think's going to happen if a reality TV star runs for president? Of course, people are going to vote for them. People, first of all, don't care about the political system. Second of all, they don't, they don't give a fuck. And they also know that the political system doesn't serve them, generally speaking. Okay, the working class know what's up. It's why they vote for Trump, because at least while he's fucking you, he entertains you, right? So at least he'll tell you a joke while he's fucking you, okay? So that's really the general sentiment across every Western democracy. Most average citizens feel that way about their politicians. So it's not really any surprise. Now, it's not exactly implausible that someone like Kanye could actually be the president of the United States. Now, I love this move. This move cracks me up, mostly because, first of all, it pisses off the people that I enjoy fucking pissing off. Number one. But also the fact that it's like real your move bitches, because he's a black man in the middle of the BLM movement who isn't like woke, who has had the endorsement of Elon Musk. So to criticize him, right, you could easily accuse people of being racist and not wanting a black man for president, right? It's fucking hilarious, no matter how many angles you look at it. Like, again, it's just a troll. Like, they're just being trolls. But at the same time, like, it's not the worst idea in the world, if anything, because it's actually the better of the other two options, believe it or not. And that would be contingent on, right, if he was surrounding himself, honestly, like, I know I talked about technocrats before, but if he was surrounding himself with people like Elon Musk, if Kanye attaches himself to the IDW folks, right, or someone or that crew, right, I could see it. I could see it, because the thing that people don't understand about the president, right, is that they're a figurehead. Okay, they're largely a figurehead. Yes, they have power, but a president is determined largely by who they surround themselves with. Okay, it takes a whole village. The White House is full of hundreds of people. It's just how it works, right? And so screaming, hang on, it hasn't come up yet. I think there's a slight delay on those. Here we go. It came up. So my point, I was actually getting to that, which was that I was going to suggest people look at that instead. But I'm saying, like, it's not. I like the idea. That's more my preference, right? But I love I love to hate to love America. I love to hate to love Kim Kardashian. I love people who make me have complicated thoughts and feelings. Like, that's probably a common thread with me, is that I'm quite comfortable in the gray and in discomfort. And I love leaning into that and seeing what we could do, right? So this whole idea is like, let's do a thought experiment. You know how my streams go by now. We may eventually get to the topic that I plan to talk about, or we may not. We're just having some fun. This is just the grind. But this is my fucking improv and riffing and all that shit. Stress balls. If you're late to the party, it's my stress balls. Aren't they gross? Anyway, so, and I've got a new Trump mug. Anyway, so point is, okay, so you can have a president that can barely fucking function, right? This is Joe Biden is a good example of that, right? You just need someone in the seat. It's unfortunate that that's the case, right? It used to be the fact that a competent president was sort of a minimum fucking requirement. But at the same time, it's largely, as long as you surround yourself with a committee of good people, you can get shit done, right? And Kanye seems to be like, I don't know. I want to see it. I have no skin in the game. I don't live there. It's not my country. You know, we are impacted. We're sort of downwind from it. But at the same time, if I don't live there, so take that with a grain of salt. But, you know, like, also, so we're just having some fun. But also don't forget, right, what I'd love to see is that I can't help but think that this is deliberate, that he's just like priming for 2024. I really believe this. I mean, think about it. If I was going to run for president and I was going to become first lady, what would I do? I'd go and lawyer up for a start. So I'd become a lawyer. His mother-in-law, right? His mother-in-law is one of the most absolute genius marketers and public relations people to ever live, right? And it sort of makes sense that Kanye would think that it was just another marketing campaign, right? Like, fucking brilliant. You can say whatever the fuck you want about the Kardashians as marketers. They're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. They are great at staying in the news, as is Kanye, and as is Trump. Right? They understand how to short circuit this fucking cycle. It's great. Again, that doesn't necessarily make you good presidential material, but here we are. So, but there's, there are some aspects to it. Like, and I was actually looking up like Kanye's views, right? Where are we? Let me have a look. Where, he's very much pro BLM type of stuff. He was in the marches. He seems to have his head on straight in terms of class and poverty and those sorts of things. And also the other thing that I'm just going to casually point out, the other thing I love is that they're saying Kanye's crazy. Fuck him. He's fucking off his tree. Where it's like, what are you saying? Are you saying that someone with bipolar disorder? That's a bit ableist of you. It's just perfect. It's just a perfect troll. Like I can see why Elon Musk joined in, because he's just like, yeah, fucking go for it. Because they're sitting there falling on their own swords, right? Which is that they're sitting there and they're like, oh, he's fucking crazy. He's got mental problems. That's what they're saying. And it's like, dude, look at Biden. Also, you're the one who talks and corrects everyone's language on fucking mental disabilities all the time. And so why are you stigmatizing him? I love it. And he's black. And it's just fucking amazing. I just think it's hilarious. I just think it's fucking funny. There's no real case, but other than that it would entertain me. Mental problemophobe. Yes. Anyway, so Brett Weinstein has done a sort of better alternative model. It's the Unity 2020 proposal. I do suggest you have a look at it. I'm always a little hesitant to endorse things that I don't know, that circumvent I don't know. I haven't read it yet. I'm not in full. But again, there might be. I suspect there could be unintended consequences, and I hope that they've actually talked to some political scientists, not just technocrats and technologists and money people. And people who think that they know political science, because political science is its own beast. And so hopefully they've talked to that. It seems on the surface it seems to be a good plan, but. I just want to see Kanye be president. You're not going to get fucking political analysis from me. I don't know what you're expecting. I'm a shithead. I don't know why you thought that. I'm here to talk shit. Anyway, but yeah, so there's something to be said. Like, only Kanye, right? Think about it. He'd be a black president, right? His woman and his first lady is a fucking savvy person. She'll probably be a lawyer by the time, soon. She's training to be a lawyer. They really, really are passionate about the criminal justice system and reform there. They are very obviously pro black rights. I think he's sort of more into the reparations side of things, but again, we could find a solution. It's not entirely a terrible idea. It's not. He's kind of a socialist. That's the thing. I sit there and I go, oh yeah, interesting. But also it's a good place to put their money, right? So don't forget, his wife became a billionaire this week. Again, I don't know whether they fudged the numbers like they did with Kylie, but she's a very wealthy woman in her own right. Like all those people, right? All those people that are like, oh, she's only wealthy because of a sex tape. And I said, well, why don't you try putting up a sex tape and see how many billions you make? It takes more than that, okay? It's not just that. It takes fucking savvy. If you work in advertising or PR or comms, you understand and are legitimately impressed by the machine that is the Kardashians, okay? So shut the fuck up. Don't be sexist. Don't delegitimize her. Just because, she turned around and something that was leaked without her consent and she fucking turned it around and capitalized on it. Anyway, that was a side point. I will defend the Kardashians. Okay. So anyway, she's doing the best she can with and now she's turning around and trying to do some good with her wealth. And that's a fucking admirable trait. Better than all these fucks that just do nothing but tear other people down 24/7. Okay. I'm not saying that she's perfect, but I'm also saying that Jesus Christ, she's not sitting on Twitter just tearing everyone down all the time. Anyway. So what was I going to say? Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see. And a lot of them, what I found interesting, I was watching some of the conversation around this Kanye thing. And what's interesting is that the Trump supporters think that it's a plan by the Democrats to dilute the votes for Trump, because I think there's a lot of people. I know a few who are basically going like this. and voting for Trump because they really don't want to, but they don't have any other viable options. So they will eat, and they're just going, yep, I'll vote for Kanye. Like, this is what I'm saying. I talk to a lot of different people, a lot of different people, and it's not an outside thing. Okay. Again, suspension of disbelief. I know that he hasn't registered in swings in key states and stuff like that. This is a thought experiment. Also, I forgot to plug my laptop in, and I've only got 20% battery, so we're going to be on a time limit. Good, Taya. That's good. So, yeah, so, it's not a terrible idea. He's got the money to do it. He's got the know-how. He's got the networks. And, the only thing really missing from this would be the supports. And if he attaches himself to someone, to the alternative crew like Unity 2020 or the IDW crew, and they all of these people who've had it to the back teeth with these, douche and a turd sandwich fucking options, there's a very real chance that the problem is that what's going to happen is they're likely going to break up the vote in 4 different directions. What I'd like to see is all of those people who want to vote none of the above, right, come together and run a viable, celebrity, happy third candidate. That's what I'd love to see happen. Again, whether your average voter will, I think they might. I think there's a very real, very, very strong chance that people might be fed up. I think enough of a block happened in 2016, but Hillary was fairly tame, right? But Biden is clearly fucking... It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the actual fuck? 2020, man. Also, did you see that they've got the fucking, bubonic plague fucking in Russia? Stress balls. Stress balls. I like Elon Musk. Do you like Elon Musk? I do. But that's because I understand how his brain works. Because mine works in a weird sort of way as well, where I just... enough stress and enough fucking thing, and I just get stupid and silly. Anyway. Should I plug my... where do I put my power? I forgot to plug the fucking thing in. Hang on. I might be able to reach it. I can't reach it from here. Oh, well. I'm going to have to go in 5 minutes. But yeah, I made no case for Kanye other than the fact that A, it would be funny. B, it's not a terrible fucking option in terms of his policies. And yes, he's a bit nuts, but what's the difference between, he's basically kind of a more left-wing version of Trump, which again is not an ideal situation. But he's not a bad guy. I don't know if you've seen any, the blue checks like to make him out to be, if you actually listen to him, he's got a lot to say, and he seems to have his head on straight, and he seems to be surrounded by, he's a good family man. I'm going to plug my laptop in. Give me 1 sec. There we go. Do that instead. Okay. If he surrounds himself with the right people, I think he'd be all right. Because the president does tend to be a figurehead. I think he's off his tree. And I think it's just absolutely arrogant and hilarious. But, and it may not happen because obviously he's sort of forgotten. Usually if you announce you run for presidency, you make sure you filled out the paperwork first. But it would be good to see if he can build some sort of voting block. And also, the one thing about third parties that I forgot to talk about, that's why I was fucking lingering, because I knew that there was something else, which is that you don't necessarily have to run to win. What a lot of parties do is, what you can do is run in order to put a little bit of pressure on the candidates that are running, okay, to get their shit together. A lot of American politics right now has been, oh, well, this is an inevitability. It's Trump versus Biden. It's fucking Statler and Waldorf. let them go. Oh, that's just, I can't wait for the debates. And it's like, this is the sadness. But having a charismatic, energetic, popular, well-funded, more money than fucking sense, more money to burn than you can ever imagine, sitting there and holding you to account, right? That actually can have some power, because eventually he could actually drop out and make sure that he siphons votes to either Trump or to Biden. So that's one strategic thing that people can do and often do, right? Which is that's why during an election you see a lot of not-for-profits give the so-called given that most of these not-for-profits are now fucking taken over by the cult, it's going to be very weird. But basically they give you a sheet that says where they stand on the particular issue that charity supports, right? So poverty. So, and then they instruct their members or supporters to vote for or endorse XYZ candidate. So that role for Kanye could be a good one. So there's lots of different things, right? Oh gosh. I don't find this actually. How will Ghislaine Maxwell die? I say COVID. Suicide is so 2019. Yeah, I don't know. I only have so many fucks. And working in when you've worked in child protection like I have, you know just how pervasive pedophilia is, and just how we know these things happen. We know that men in power protect other men in power when it comes to women and children. This whole trans movement just proves that, right? That male solidarity is king, literally. All right, or queen. I didn't say that. That I apologize. That was not really my best self. Win, lose, or draw. I just made a joke. I apologize. I don't want it. I don't want it to happen. I don't want her to die. I want her to face what she's done and face the court. I hope that doesn't happen. I will think it would be utterly, utterly audacious to know, like absolutely audacious of anyone to try and make a move on her, when we all know like how you could, like, what, I suppose they did it with Epstein anyway, but at the same time, like, how bold would you be to openly just now have her go? Like, I don't know. What I think is going to happen is that a woman is going to take all of the fall for the crimes of men. That's what I think is going to happen. And I think that she's going to be the one who fucking has to suffer and pay, when she was probably, again, we don't know. It's complicated. She could have been recruited and gaslit and fucking abused and all this stuff, right? We've got to understand the mindset, right? People who abuse are generally abused themselves, okay? And it's often a cycle, and I just prefer to give it a benefit of the doubt. I know you were just being funny, but at the same time, like, I sit there and I go, well, they're going to make the woman take the fall. Of course they are, regardless of whether he abused her or, manipulated her or gaslit her or fucking whatever you want to say into certain things. Again, I'm not stripping her of her agency as a person, but at the same time, we know how these abusive relationships work. So I empathize with their victims, but at the same time, I just don't, I wish that I want the men who are doing all of this to fucking be held to account as well. Okay. And I hope that she names names, and I hope that they all fucking burn. I doubt they will. That never happens. Right. She looked right. Okay. I'm going to address this one. Right. When it pops up, it hasn't popped up yet. But Yosef said she looked rather happy on most pics with Epstein. Yeah, I know, right? What do you think happens with abusive relationships? Do you think they just sit there looking miserable all the time? Like, that's not how it works, man. It's called, that's what, like, seriously. that means you don't understand domestic violence and how you can pretend these things. I'm just assuming, I'm not saying she's not a bad person. I'm just saying we don't have the information. And I think that you're very, very quick to jump on the woman and not all of the men who did all of this stuff. So I want to wait and see what the story is. Like anything, I want to wait and hear the evidence, like I always do. But it's quite possible to be like abused and look happy. Okay, fuck me. Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to, not being a prick. I'm just saying, like, that's something that pisses me off. Here we go. Sorry, wrong one. Sorry. Sorry, there's actually a delay. So what happens is, because I have the YouTube moderation on, that shows up earlier than these comments. I might just only look on these so that I'm not reacting to comments that haven't shown up yet. But yeah, anybody who fucking has lived through abuse knows that it looks how it looks from the outside. Okay, like that's just my family, my family always looked perfect in public. In private, my dad told my mum if she ever left, he'd find us and burn the house down with us in it. Precisely. And that happens all of the time. Okay. One thing that abuse victims often do is look happy. That's why you often see when it's like that, and men make excuses for other men. Oh, well, oh, he was such a nice family man. I would never have guessed it. And he was a fucking terror. Well, I don't know what people think. I honestly don't know how people like. It's almost like they just rationalize it, like, oh well, if I don't see it, then it's not real, and if I don't see the abuse, it didn't happen. It's like, oh my god, sorry, Joseph, but you can look happy in a photograph and still be a victim of abuse. So I don't know what. Again, I'm not assuming. I'm just saying there's also it just seems odd to me that it's the woman arrested and not fucking. I hope that they arrest all of the men involved too, right? Epstein's not around to fucking take the fall, and yet here's this woman who, again, it's not unheard of that women are like this, but it's pretty rare, yeah, I want to see. I want to see what happens. I want to see her get her day in court, and I'd be interested to know if she was a victim or not. And that's not me just saying, oh, because she's a woman. I'm saying it's statistically more likely that she was probably abused and coerced rather than complicit. This is what men don't get. This is the stuff men don't get. They make excuses for other men, and anyway. I'm going to. I think I'm good. I think I've talked for long enough today. That was about Kanye for some reason, and somehow I took a turn. Oh yeah, because you asked about like that woman. The evidence. I want to see the evidence. I want to see her day in court, and yeah, I don't know. Powerful men are very powerful, okay, and powerful men are extra abusive to women as well, and so we'll just wait and see. She could easily have been equally complicit. I'm not saying that that's not the case. I'm saying I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. Groomers are groomers, abusers are abusers, and they behave in a certain way. And most of the in history with crimes where women have been sort of involved in murders and assault and abuse and stuff with their partners, usually that woman has been also abused by the man and manipulated. So, but again, she could just be a psychopath. She could be one of the extremely rare female psychopaths. Anyway, stress balls. Oh my God. That was my political analysis. Kanye 2020. No, the only reason I want to see that happen is because it's funny. But it's also not the worst idea in the world at the moment, given the options. So, but with the American political system, people, I think Australians particularly, don't get how much money you need, how much profile, how much fame you need. Like Roseanne ran for president for the Greens. Remember that? See, this is how I remember all this shit. I remember stupid things, and yet I couldn't remember to plug in my laptop this morning, but I remember that. We each have a role to play. Anyway, I'm going to go. I've got to go do a fuck ton of work today because I am so far behind. It is not funny, and I'm very sorry, but I really have to focus on work. I'm playing with the stress balls. I got distracted. I forgot that I was on camera. Anyway, this has been a fucking shit show. I love you. Thank you for your precious life seconds. Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting to do this. I feel like a prick every time I do it. But first of all, Patreon, thank you so much for those few people that have signed up today, the last week or so. It does. I'm very grateful. The notifications aren't good, so I get it. I don't see when people do that, but know that if you do that, I'm very grateful. If you want to support me, you can go to my website, téasmith.com.au. There's a few ways to do that. If you want to support quality content where I clearly did all of my research, if you want to pay for a stress vagina to go with my stress balls, then that would be great. But yeah. Yes, I'm doing more verboten episodes soon. I just all of the shit that happened after I interviewed Graham, I needed to pace myself. Sometimes you just got to pace yourself because, you can only take so much abuse and so much hate. And if you're feminist watching, chill the fuck out. Okay? Seriously, you sound crazy. If you're only focused on a single issue all of the time, you look crazy, no matter what that issue is. Okay? And regardless of it, it doesn't justify bullying somebody. Okay? It's just not okay. I don't give a fuck what the argument is. I don't give a fuck if you're right. It's not the belief, it's the behavior in this instance. And if you're bullying, then you're not my friend. Okay? Anyway, I love you. Thank you for your precious life seconds. I don't know. I went to grab my mouse and I grabbed the stress balls instead. So I'm going to go. Thank you. Bye.